Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, we're going to take a look at a new way of looking at healthcare based on outcomes. That's just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, I don't know about you, but I run a small company and we have options for healthcare plans, and it's dizzying to me. It makes my mind explode when I'm trying to decide between this plan and this plan. And plus, you don't know who the doctors are and how good the doctors are at having a certain result. To talk about that today, Scott Roloff, he is the president of IntegerHealth Technologies. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Jeff.
Yeah. Okay, so help us understand what your company does.
Okay, well, we started the company a couple of years ago. Our primary founder is a fellow named Dr. Jack McCallum. And Jack was a neurosurgeon in the Metroplex here, one of the premier neurosurgeons for about 30 years. He then retired from being a surgeon and began founding, building up, and selling healthcare technology companies. IntegerHealth is actually his 5th one. The one right before us was a company that probably most of your viewers have heard of. It's called Senseo Health. It has since changed its name to Signify Health, and a couple of weeks ago it was sold to CVS for $8 billion. So Jack's had a lot of success in healthcare and healthcare technology. The thing in healthcare is that everybody knows what they pay for their healthcare, whether it's in their health plans, workers' comp programs, their wellness programs, but no one knows really what they get in return for those healthcare dollars. How we try to measure return for healthcare right now is in terms of quality, which focuses on process. What did a doctor do, or what did the doctor not do? Did the doctor follow clinical-based medicine? Or even did the patient like the doctor? The input into that healthcare equation are the claims dollars that we pay to the doctors and hospitals. We need the output from that equation to be in dollars and cents too, so that we can compare the two and calculate our real return on investment on those dollars. And that's what we do at IntegerHealth. We combine cost and quality into a single dollar value so that we can rank things based upon the outcomes that they achieve for the patient. Which doctor is the best doctor for diabetes, which doctor is the best surgeon for knees, and just about anything else in healthcare. When you're spending healthcare doctor dollars, we can rank that based upon the outcomes in dollars and cents.
You were telling me a story just before we went on about a company that you helped save a million.
Sure.
Too. Yeah, tell us that story.
This particular employer was up in the Northeast. It was a large employer, and they had 2 orthopedic surgeons in their network. It was a large, and both of these surgeons did neck surgeries and back surgeries, and they're the highest volume surgeons in the network. And we looked at each surgeon when they did neck surgeries. And we found that one was much better than average and one was much worse. That's how we tend to look at things. Are you better than average or are you worse than average? So then we went to the results of their back surgeries, and we expected to see the same thing because we were only going a few vertebrae down the spine, and it was exactly reversed. Now the other one was much better at those back surgeries, and the one that was really good at neck surgeries was much worse. If all we did was switch around the patients going to those 2 surgeons so that each doctor was only doing what they were good at, you would have saved about $1.2 million over 4 years. And the surgeons themselves would not have cared because they'd still be doing the same number of surgeries. Now they'd just be doing what they were good at.
So we've got some generic video of doctors and different surgeries. And so when a company approaches you, what does an engagement look like? How does it start?
Depends what we're looking at for them. If we're looking at their health plan or their workers' comp, they're going to need to be a self-insured employer, because if you're self-insured, you're still engaging an insurance company to process your claims and provide the networks of doctors and hospitals for you to go to. But you're the one at risk for those claims, so you own that claims data. And that claims data is the fuel for our analytics engine. We have to have that claims data, and we combine that data with other sources, and then we can calculate the outcomes for the doctors or the treatment patterns. Just about anything to do with healthcare, we can calculate and combine the cost and the quality in that single dollar value. But we need to have those claims dollars as the fuel for our analytics engine.
You also did some great work with the city of Fort Worth.
Yeah.
Can you share that story?
Well, the city of Fort Worth, we work with their workers' comp program, and that's a fundamental difference between health plans and workers' comp. In health plans, I can tell folks who the best doctors are for them, who's going to get the best results at the lowest overall cost. They can still go to wherever they want to go to. In workers' comp, it's different. In Texas and 33 other states, if you have an injury, the employer can tell you what doctor you have to go to. And so what we did for the city of Fort Worth is we took all their data under their health plan, data under their workers' comp program, their HR data. We looked at all that data and we came up with a network of the best doctors for each type of workers' comp injury. So they could send their employees to only the best doctors. And it was in a documented national case study, we drove down the city of Fort Worth's workers' comp costs by 23%.
So, Scott, tell us more about how somebody contacts you. I mean, is there a fee to even meet with you to see if they need you?
No, what we do is typically we go around the country, try to give conferences, we write articles to get the word out, a lot of word of mouth. And what happens is if someone's interested, they'll talk with us. We'll explain to them in a presentation what we do, how we do it. And then if they're interested, we ask them, well, you don't have to believe what we're telling you, send us some of your data. And we'll put it in the algorithms and we'll show you with your own data how much we could save for you, how much we could improve the quality of care for your employees. And depending upon who it is, we might have a small fee for that or we might just do it for free.
And Scott, you write for journals as well. We're going to put up on the screen a article that you published. Tell us what that article is about.
This article has to do with a new product we have. We just filed the patent application on it this summer. And it has to do with wellness programs. And wellness programs are ubiquitous. Every employer has all kinds of wellness programs. They know what they're paying these vendors for the wellness programs, but they have no idea what they're getting in return. For example, if you have a diabetes disease management program, the vendor's going to come back to you and say, well, all the employees participating, their A1C scores went down, so we're doing a great job. Well, maybe, maybe not. The only thing as an employer that matters to you is, did your health plan costs go down, your medical and pharmacy costs go down? And do those employees' absences related to diabetes go down? That's your real return. Once you figure that out, which we know how to do, then you can calculate the real return on investment and calculate the ROI that CFOs are always asking about. If it's got an acceptable ROI, it makes sense to have the program. And maybe it doesn't make sense to have the program. And what you see in a lot of programs is the ROI, once you calculate it, is nothing what you expected. It's much lower. And the reason is employees self-select. Say you run the algorithms through a health plan and you find out that you have 500 diabetic employees. So you decide to start a diabetes management program. 200 employees sign up. Who do you think those first 200 are going to be? They're the folks that are most conscientious about their diabetes to begin with. Exhibit A, B, they signed up right away. As a consequence, they don't have much room to improve. The other 300 folks, they have a lot of room to improve because they're not as conscientious. Those are the folks you have to get into the program, and if you do, then you'll start to realize those promised ROIs.
So Scott, in the little time we have left, how does a company or organization know when they need somebody like you?
I would say anybody that pays for healthcare needs to look at outcomes. The thing that I get often is the way that you look at healthcare is so different. That's not the way we're used to looking at. We're used to looking at qualitative measures, those things that I talked about at the beginning. What did the doctor do or didn't do? Did patients like the doctor? We look at the total outcome. And it often reminds me of a quote that I heard from Henry Ford when people asked him, what did he want? If he'd done only what people wanted, he would have just given them faster horses.
That's a great way to end this. We're going to end with the website, which is IntegerHealth.com. Scott Roloff, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, Jeff.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.